Hello there, guys. Welcome back to my channel for yet another What We Really Learned from the past Chelsea game. This time, Chelsea 0, Manchester United 0. And as much as the scoreline sounds dull, and as much as the game in parts was a little bit dull, we're going to make damn sure that this stream ain't going to be dull. And I've got the best partner to make sure a stream ain't dull that I could possibly have thought of. Dammy, Mr. Grand Dam, how are you, bro?
Oh, listen. Back again on the Laurenz Vescoli channel. You understand? Out here, it's been a while. You might know, man has been all over the shop, busy with work, life, and whatnot, all these different things. Manchester United and Chelsea probably took off a few years from life expectancy because of how dreadful the game is. But it's good to be back, bro. Good to be back. What are we saying?
It is good to be back. I'm good. I hope you're all right as well. Obviously, the grind is real for you, especially, you know, doing a normal actual job as well. But yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. But I think there is actually a lot of questions that we need to discuss for yesterday's game. As much as you like you said, it was boring at times. It was dull, and you know, it took some life away from us. I still think that there's some very interesting questions that should probably be discussed. And anyone that's tuned in, big up yourselves. Massively appreciate that. Don't know where my background just went. Where is it gone? There it's back. Anyway, but yeah, if you're new here, you know, please be sure to subscribe. Of course, check out Dammy. His link is down in the description. Just click his ad, subscribe to his channel, help him reach 4,000 subscribers as soon as bloody possible. And like I said, subscribe to me, road to 10K. The quicker you get me there, the sooner I will not bother you about it anymore. So just subscribe. That'd be sick. Smash the like button and, you know, we move. Obviously, become a member if you want to. Join button underneath, super chat, all the good stuff if you fancy it. But Dammy, yesterday's game. And before we get into any of the game itself, I want to talk about the lineup. Because there was a few things that surprised me in there already. Not necessarily that I was crazily disappointed by them, but I didn't necessarily expect them. Of course, we stuck to the same formation. Let me just get it up. But we started with the back three again. And, you know, Werner was dropped, shall we say, right? Obviously, Hakim Ziyech came in for him. Ben Chilwell started over Marcos Alonso and Kante started over Jorginho. What did you think when the lineup came out in the first place?
I expected it, bro. I expected it. I said this in my preview. I said we're going to see Chilwell and Kante. Do you know what I mean? It was the only thing that made sense because United's team is very quick off the ball. Do you understand? I knew they were going to try and counter-attack us, and it was clear that Ole wanted to take advantage of Jorginho and Alonso being slow individuals. You could see with Daniel James, Mason Greenwood, Marcus Rashford, and then you've got Bruno running in behind. It was clear they were trying to take advantage of that. So I was expecting Tuchel to bring Kante and Chilwell back into the game. So in true fashion, I know a lot of people were shocked to see it, but since I had kind of prepared my mind for it, I wasn't too surprised in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, no, you're right with those two. I didn't necessarily expect Werner to be dropped. Obviously, the way that I expected, and I think everybody, including Tuchel, expected Manchester United to play, it made sense not to play Werner. But the way they ended up playing, at least in the first half, we were like, well, we probably could have done with Timo Werner. But then there is obviously the case to be made that once we brought Pulisic on for Giroud, they just dropped by 15 to 20 yards. So had we started Werner, they might have never pressed us as hard as they did. So you're right, you know, with the performances. We'll talk about Chilwell in a minute because I think it is a talking point that shouldn't be, you know, ignored, shall we say. But for the rest of the game, what did you make of it? Did you think we were too hesitant? Did you just think it was the same issues again that we've been having realistically in all of the 8 games under Thomas Tuchel, or is it 9 now, whatever it is? I think 9 games, but maybe the first half against Newcastle, I thought were quite good, even in the final third against them. But other than that, it's kind of been the same issues all over, other than that we didn't manage to beat their press as comfortably as I maybe expected us to.
Bro, like, truthfully, at the end of the day, the only issue with this team is that they can't finish for nothing. Do you know what I mean? Their finishing has been absolutely bad. Do you know, I'm coming from the final ball and certain plays in between the lines to be able to get into the opposition box have just been damn right bad. You understand? So, truthfully, for me, I'm sat here looking at those situations like, raw, I don't know how to take it from now. And then I just keep on complaining. My preview was literally me begging these players to score goals. That is exactly what we needed them to do. And guess what? They didn't do it. So, hey, what can I really say at the end of the day? It's one of those, another frustrating game because defensively, I felt like we were quite solid. You understand? You had Kante winning the ball back. But once again, it was that final ball, the ball from the midfield to the attack. It was very poor. The ball in between Mason Mount, from Kovacic and Kante, because as much as they were winning the ball back and Kovacic was driving up the ball, sometimes Kante would win the ball back, lose it again, or not pass properly. And sometimes Kovacic would win the ball back and he just dribbled for too long. And United have already filled up with 6 or 7 players behind the ball. So all those little things and decision making really killed us off. You understand? We could have capitalized in this game. True say, draw is worse for us than it is for United, because United just stay where they have been for these past few games and these past few weeks or whatnot. And then we couldn't capitalize on the fact that Leicester and West Ham lost. So, bro, I just think that attack-wise, we were just very annoying and very flat to look at. Defensively, Tuchel has made us a more solid team, so I'm not really going to complain about defending. But everything after that is just a shambles, bro. Just a shambles.
No, it honestly really is. And I don't know, it just Tuchel's idea didn't work yesterday. Yes, it was obviously, someone put it in a chat earlier, they only pressed us because we allowed them to press us with the team that we turn up with. Not totally wrong with that. Obviously, had they sat back consistently, you know, the Ziyech, Giroud front two, shall we call it now, might have worked well, but the way that the game played out wasn't good at all, quite frankly. Like, it was kind of the last two that we need in that position. Ziyech, okay, but then you need Werner or Pulisic or someone up top to actually make use of, you know, Ziyech's passing range. But the way it was just pointless. And I fully agree with what you said. The ball isn't fed enough to the front three. And that's where it comes back to some Mason Mount criticism, because the only times we actually got into those areas was when Mason Mount dropped back and took the ball forward all by himself. When he dropped back and him and Chilwell combining assisted Ziyech's chance, or when he himself combining with Ziyech ran into the box all by himself. Like, that was the only way we really got into the box for properly dangerous situations, other than the Hudson-Odoi and Reece James crosses, those two. But other than that, it was nothing. And Mason had to do it all by himself again. Not doing it perfectly well, don't get me wrong, but still, he was the only one that actually did it. No one else.
Yeah.
Exactly. We have a new member here,
trying to get stuff.
Go on. Finish your point.
Now, I was just saying that, like, at the end of the day, that's one of the major issues. Because as much as I rate Mason Mount massively, I'm a Mason Mount stan. I love him to bits. But true say, at the end of the day, I look at the situation when we've got him as our best performer at such a young age. Yeah, it says how good he is, but it also shows you how poor everyone else has been. Do you know where I'm coming from? Yeah,
for sure. Bro, you're muted. Don't know why, but you are.
My Mac was dying and I plugged it in and it just muted. I don't know what technology today has not been my friend. And who is this man is making noise outside my window? Can you guys hear that?
No, but I think your mic has just changed. Check which mic you're using right now. You sound different.
Yeah, it has. Now it should be different.
There you go.
There we go. But yeah, I've got some, literally, if you could hear this, I feel like taking my head off, honest to God. But now, like I was saying, obviously, Mason Mount is such a good player on the board, you know, coming from, he's very, very effective in terms of turning and beating the opposition. But that final ball right now, we're relying on him to be able to get so many stuff done. I'm guessing we'll talk about Ziyech later. I don't want to start talking about him right now because Ziyech was extremely frustrating for what he's supposed to be and what he was touted to be. But nah, man, Mason Mount yesterday as well it just shows that we need to get somebody back into the pitch. I mean, we need to get like Havertz in his flow. I don't know. We just need a connection. You know, I'm coming from. There's no connection in that pitch right now. If we're going to try and score that perfect goal, we can't just keep on going down the wings. We need to make those central passes. Kovacic, Kante, Jorginho, I don't know why they do like passing centrally. They never do. Rarely ever get something like that done. So all those different bits and bobs are some of the reasons why we just couldn't beat United yesterday. Not because United was spectacular, but just because we couldn't finish for nothing.
Yeah, exactly. And it's been a consistent issue. And that is one thing that I do want to touch on in terms of Thomas Tuchel as well. Of course, you said it. He solidified us defensively, and that is good. But we've still had the same struggles in all 9 of his games. And he hasn't really significantly tried to change and fix it, which is something that I find a bit strange with what we know of him and how we know him to be from his previous, managerial destinations. Big up Flyers, by the way, becoming a new member. Come on. Appreciate it a lot. Obviously, if anyone else wants to do that, there's a join button underneath. All the information is there. Just as I said, he needs to see us without Mount to see if we can create more without him. I think that is a fair point as well. And maybe just the Wolves game isn't quite enough to judge that on. But if we go by that, clearly that isn't the difference either. If anything, he came on and was the most creative, quite frankly, in that game at least. But that is a one-off game. Obviously, it could be very different. Before we get into the whole Havertz thing and Tuchel thing, I think we should just get it out of the way, get the elephant out of the way, the elephant in the room out of the way. The Callum Hudson-Odoi handball drama that has, unfolded after the game, whether it was Luke Shaw's comments, whether it was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's comments, whether it was all of the craziness going on in the media about the penalty, everyone disagreeing and agreeing and whatever else. Funnily enough, I was on the stream with Lewis just a minute ago with Aaron and Flawless, and they were saying they actually didn't think it was a pen, which surprised me because I did. I won't lie, I did. But I think the interesting thing nowadays is the fact why I did is because I don't know the rules. I don't know what is handball and what isn't. Because I swear it was only a few weeks ago we were told if the hand's up here above the shoulder and you touch the ball, no matter what and how you got there, it's a foul anyway. And that's, to me, what happened. So I was 100% convinced, especially once the ref went over to the screen, that he would give it as a handball. The only kind of way for me, I could say to Callum, yeah, maybe Greenwood touched his arm and pushed it up for him to touch the ball. That's my only reason why I don't see a pen. But everything that went on around it, what did you make of that? Luke Shaw's comments, obviously, that Harry Maguire apparently came out and said, no, that's not what the ref said. Luke Shaw misheard me. Seems a bit of PR duty, making sure that Luke Shaw doesn't get in trouble. But it's weird, isn't it? Like, especially if the ref said that, it's weird.
Bro, at the end of the day, for me, with the whole situation, it's like, I don't even know. Maybe the ref did say that. You know, I'm coming from, who knows? I'm not trying to put words in anyone's mouth. All these people, you never really know with them. You know, I'm coming from, it could actually be a PR thing. It could be Luke Shaw and Maguire were irritated. You never know, innit? You know, I'm coming from, the referees' voices are recorded. Their conversations during the game are recorded. So that's definitely something that will come to light moving forward. If he actually said it, we will never hear about it, which can confirm that what he said was correct. And if we do hear about it, then that's going to put Luke Shaw in a lot of hot water. Do you understand? That's probably what's going to happen. So for me, I'm sat here thinking, honest to God, I felt like if it was going to be a penalty, it would have been extremely harsh, considering that they were both in positions where they could have handled the ball. You know, I'm coming from, I felt Callum was trying to balance. He wasn't trying to intentionally push the ball. Literally, you could see that he was trying to balance from the way his hands were held up. So I'm glad that we were able to review that with VAR, because that was a penalty that would have literally changed the entire course of the game. Do you know where I'm coming from? But at the end of the day, I just saw the situation like, you know what? The rules in this league, do you know where I'm coming from? Sometimes when they pause stuff for offside, I just find the whole FA and the whole league rules and the whole VAR thing just to be a massive mess right now. Because once again, I tell people, you don't truly understand something until you can explain it to somebody in simple terms. You know where I'm coming from? How well can you understand? Because if you ask these people, explain this to me, they can't give you a proper explanation because they don't fully understand it themselves. So you can't expect the fans to understand it if the people that are using it don't understand it. So that's just how the whole thing is, man. It cluster. I was about to swear, but yeah, it's a cluster. It's a mess. It's a big mess.
It really is. First of all, big up Zion for the donation. Big up Damien.
Man like Zion, man. Big up to you, bro.
Exactly. It's good, and I agree. That's the problem. Like, if football was how you and I fell in love with it, say 15 years ago, whatever, this isn't a pen, and in my opinion, it shouldn't be a pen because handball is a tricky rule if you think about it, because Hudson-Odoi touching a ball in that position didn't change anything. The ball didn't then fall to Callum for him to clear it easier. It didn't change anything. And in my opinion, that should make a big difference in terms of handballs. Does it actually change something? Does it give the defender an advantage in that case, or does it not? Does it take an advantage away from the attacker? Does it not? Is it completely unintentional, like you said, because he's trying to balance and whatever? Those are very good reasons. Obviously, a lot of people in the chat saying it wasn't even a free kick in the first place. I disagree. McTominay got the ball. Mason Mount jumped into it. You can say McTominay had a high foot, right? And therefore, it's both kind of committed a foul and then don't give a foul either way. That's fair. But you can't say Mount didn't foul it. He clearly did. He just clattered into him after McTominay touched the ball. But yeah, I mean, the whole penalty, and it's weird because I saw Gary Neville, I saw a lot of different people saying it is a handball, it is a penalty. Even Chelsea TV saying, obviously during their broadcast and then seeing the highlights saying, they expected it to be a penalty. It's not looking good, and that's kind of where I was in those shoes. Like, I'm not saying I 100% believe it should be a penalty, but I thought it would be a penalty, and it's just the whole mess that we're in. Yeah, continue.
Like literally, like that's why I said what I said with regards to the rules. Like, I'm sat here telling you it's not a penalty because I feel it would have been too harsh. That's why I'm telling you it's not a penalty. Because true say by the laws of the game, and I put that in very loose quotes, by the laws of the game, technically it could have been a penalty because he kind of did handle the ball. Do you know where I'm coming from? Mason Greenwood, or was it whoever I was with, handled the ball as well, but he kind of did handle the ball. Do you know where I'm coming from? Maybe they should have, someone is suggesting maybe could have been a drop ball, but this is where I'm coming from. The rules are not clear and concise. They're not easily digestible. Do you know where I'm coming from? It's like eating raw chicken. You can't digest it easily. You need to make sure the rules are clear for everyone to see. That's how things are. So that's why there's so much conversation about this. If things were clear, okay, it's kind of like when you're driving. Everybody knows you don't just drive into the other lane when there's upcoming traffic. You don't do that. Everybody knows that because the rules are clear. But with football, when you're talking about handball, especially handballs are so funky in this league. People could do stuff with their shoulder on Monday, and then on Friday, when they do with their shoulder the next time, it's a handball. Literally, we don't know how things are meant to unfold with these rules because they are not clear and concise. They need to be clear and concise, and they need to improve on them. If not, there's absolutely no way we're ever going to be able to come to certain conclusions on different things. You know where I'm coming from? So, and there you go. Look at that. That's exactly what I mean. The spirit of the handball law is to either knowingly retard an offensive action or to give an unfair advantage. Same with offsides. Huh? Did I read that properly?
I need to read that again.
Yeah, I don't think I read that properly. Big up to Jess as well. Yeah.
I don't think he meant to say retard here, unless retard means a different word, something else to what I know it as.
The spirit of the handball law is to either knowingly retard an offensive action, okay, I get that, or to give an unfair advantage. Same with offside. Unfair advantage, in what sense? I think I get what Jester is saying, but thing is, I don't want to. Do you get what he's saying? I think I get what he means.
I think he's kind of hinting at what I said in terms of if the ball was about to fall to Greenwood, but then Callum handled it and then that took it away from Greenwood for Callum to clear it easily, then it should have been a penalty regardless of how weird it was. If in a way, like if it took like a chance away from Greenwood to have possession, but that wasn't gonna be the situation anyway. And we have another big donation. Big up all of you guys today. Zion saying, like I stated on Dammy Stream with Olivia, big up Dammy for getting her on, by the way. We need to focus on teams like United, Liverpool, and Everton. That one win in Europe wasn't enough. Again, we are judged against teams like them, not Madrid. I mean, both.
Exactly. This is what we spoke about. Do you know what I'm saying? I spoke literally big up to Zion because Zion is always on the channel, isn't it? Because we spoke about this on stream. I was saying that at the end of the day, and I think he sent a super chat that said something similar. I said to everyone that we should not, and I beg and urge Chelsea fans, players, manager, everybody. Champions League form is not equal to league form. It has never been like that. Chelsea are the prime example of that. Look at 2012. Our league form was bottom barrel. We finished 6th that season, and our games were not even the best performance-wise. Champions League settings are completely different. Champions League nights are completely different. So I just said, you know what? We've beaten Atletico. Take that momentum and translate it to actual gameplay. Translate it to actual useful stuff we could use in the league. That's what I was trying to say. I'm not saying the players eased up and relaxed or anything, but we needed to focus a lot more on these Premier League teams because, like I said at the start of this stream, the fact that we did not capitalize on the fact that Leicester and West Ham dropped points is very, very irritating for Chelsea fans. United don't care. United went there for a draw and possibly a win. If they snatch the win, better for them. But they were perfectly fine with a draw. And they are still untouched. They're like 6 points ahead or something like that of all of us back here. So, true say, I'm sat here quite pissed off. I mean, big up to my boy Lewis, as I always say. Did he shave as well? AC Hive looking very strong these days. You understand? Danish Maldini or whatnot. But true say, at the end of the day, I'm sat here looking at those situations and I'm just a bit frustrated in the grand scheme of things. You know what I mean? Literally, it's quite jarring. It's actually jarring.
Yeah, no, you're right. Like, you're not wrong. And what Zion said in the donation is as well. Yeah, we need to beat these teams as well. But realistically, the game against United and the game against Atletico wasn't really any different. Just against Atletico, we had that one moment of Giroud. Other than that, it was the exact kind of game, really. Okay, Atletico were more defensive than Manchester United. But still, essentially, we didn't really create much. Arguably, we created more against United with that Ziyech chance, which was an absolute sitter. And we didn't have a single sitter chance against Atletico. So it was kind of the same thing, or like really in the grand scheme of things, if you think about it. Obviously, we touched on it on your channel as well already, Lewis, with the whole handball penalty situation. So I'm not going to, get into it too much with you anymore. I kind of want to move on because the next point I want to discuss is the fact that Chelsea fans made N'Golo Kante, man of the match, Chelsea man of the match. Obviously, someone said it in the chat at the very beginning, Luke Shaw was man of the match. Yeah. Let's ignore, just in terms of Chelsea players, obviously. I don't see how that happened again. I don't see it. Was he bad? No. Was he amazing defensively? Absolutely. But was he also one of the reasons why we didn't get the ball high up the pitch better and why Manchester United were able to press us? Yes. They even bloody targeted him and picked him out to press us. Like, they didn't even bother with Kovacic. They specifically tried to press Kante because they knew that's how they're going to win the ball back. So no one can tell me that he was absolutely unbelievable and better than Christensen or Rudiger, because Christensen and Rudiger were phenomenal. And even Aspie, other than the one moment of lack of communication with Reece James when Luke Shaw obviously went behind them both for the McTominay chance, other than that, Aspilicueta was also phenomenal. Jesters told me last night, fair enough, that Aspie's forward passing wasn't quite up to scratch, which is maybe a fair point. But still, Christensen and Rudiger were far clear of N'Golo Kante yesterday, in my opinion. And another donation by Sion saying, top 4 in the league is way more important than Europe. Unless we win the Champions League, then I disagree. Obviously, we won't. But if we do, then I don't care where we finish in the league, honestly. Not bothered at all. Unless we win the league, but we won't do that. So I don't really care then. But let me get Lewis' thoughts on that first. Because did you think Kante was that great to be even considered Chelsea's best player yesterday? Or what did you make of Kante's performance? And in general, the midfield performance, really?
I thought it was two different tales of Kante, and you said it perfectly. Defensively, he was excellent. Broke up play numerous amount of times, kept Bruno Fernandes and Rashford quiet the entire game. But he still turned over possession way too many times for my liking as well. And you got to take both into account. Like, it's not to take anything away from him or to say he was poor, but he wasn't all-round excellent in that game. And I understand us playing Kante and Kovacic because they do need to get a bit more used to playing together, because this is, again, just dress rehearsals with Atletico Madrid in the second leg in mind. Now, I understand that. That's cool. But same way, I'll praise it, but I'll praise it in parts, because there's areas where I want to see N'Golo Kante improve on. And like you said, Manchester United definitely tried and capitalized on the fact that N'Golo Kante is a lot more shook when it comes to dealing with a press. And we saw that in the game as well. But same way, did excellent defensively. And he showed exactly what. Thank you. I didn't even have to drop that one up myself. Thank you for that, bro. Much appreciated.
Who did this? For God. Can I see that again? Bring that up again. Let me see that again, I beg. For God's sake. Is that a chain as well? You man are joke, man, fam. Absolute joke, man. I'm
having so much fun with this. I can't lie.
I actually can't be bothered, fam.
Like we were saying, the man of the matches has to come from defense. It can be AC. It can be Rudiger either. Like, it could be either of the two, and I don't even care too much. Both of them were excellent. I'm low-key saying, like, the more these games keep going by, the more I'm sitting there saying, Thiago Silva, in your own time, my guy. We don't have to rush him back. And it's a beauty at 36 years of age that we don't have to rush him back. And obviously, he will walk into the team blindfolded when he comes back, regardless of how well we're playing. No one's going to make a question of that. But same way, we don't have to rush him at his age. Like, all of our centre-backs are balled out the last 5 or 6 games. And none of them are really stating the case for why they should be benched. And if we were saying under Lampard, you have to play based on merit, none of them deserve to be benched on merit. Really and truly, if we kept the same back three for the Liverpool game, wouldn't be totally against it. If you want to rest Thiago Silva and then make sure he's perfectly fine in time for the Everton game, go for it. Because we have tough runs of games all the way up until... So let's say the international break. I'll throw Sheffield United in there as well, because within 90 minutes, anything could happen in the shape of that game. And they also gave us a tough 90 minutes when we faced them anyway in the league, so we can't underestimate them either. But exactly like that, we don't have to rush Thiago Silva back. Pull him back when he's ready, or if there becomes a reason why we should throw him into the squad. But as of right now, all 3 of the centre-backs have been amazing. Aspilicueta was on job, kept Rashford quiet. Christensen was on job in the middle. Rudiger was on job on the right-hand side. Everyone was excellent.
Yeah, no, for sure. But I keep saying this, and I know I'm slightly repeating myself, and I will get to Dami straight after making this point. Kante is a great player, but Kante needs to keep his passing simple. There was this one pass when he tried to pass it out from the back, switch it over to, I think, Callum or Aspie far to the right. His pass got intercepted, and we were in a really bad organized state in terms, like, we were trying to, transition. Kante played that pass and United intercepted it. And that was arguably their biggest moment to, really take advantage of their press, and they could have probably should have done better in that situation and created a big chance. They didn't, and we were fortunate to do so. But especially those kind of ball losses, in terms of if you try to dribble forward, if you are under pressure already and you don't always get the pass off, that's fine. But to pass the ball from a tricky position and just play it straight to the opponent in their own half, you can't be doing that stuff. You absolutely can't be doing that stuff. And I keep repeating it. If we play a back three, don't play Kante, because Kante needs an extra man in midfield to have more simple passing options. And if we only have two actual midfielders, because, Ziyech and Mount weren't proper midfielders as such, then he doesn't have enough options, and that's where it becomes difficult. In a 4-3-3, that's why Kante works. Even if you play a 4-2-3-1, because then the 10 is kind of a third midfielder that gives Kante an easier passing option. Then he has the 10, he has his partner in midfield, he has the right back, he has the right winger, and if he wants to go long to the left winger or whatever, that is also an option. But like we play, he is too forced to be really good at passing, and that's when it becomes an issue. But that doesn't take anything away from how good he is defensively, because people try to twist my words saying, I don't appreciate him, I don't respect how good he was yesterday. He was good, but people need to appreciate and understand that he wasn't good going forward. And if anything, he cost us in that aspect of the game, of course. But Demi, get me your thoughts on that, because if you just thought about what if we played Jorginho instead of Kante, would that have changed anything to the results? Would the game maybe have ended 1-1 or 2-2 instead of 0-0?
Yeah,
would we have lost? Who knows?
Yeah, Truce would have. He could have probably changed stuff because Jorginho is literally a bag of beans. He's not going to run fast. You understand? He's a bag of rice, 50 kilograms you buy from Tesco's when you're trying to do the yearly shop. That's exactly what my brother has built like. He's not going to run fast in any way, shape, or form. But at the end of the day, the whole situation with N'Golo Kante, I think that's one of those players where I'm one of Kante's critics. You understand? I'm one of Kante's critics. I believe he's a world-class midfielder, but one thing I will have to be honest about with regards to Kante, as much as his ball progression is quite bad, is kind of the same situation where a lot of fans attack Kovacic and Jorginho for not getting involved with goals and assists, and we tell them that that's not really what they're supposed to do. N'Golo Kante, if he had a competent number 6 beside him who could actually do the role of another 6 and also progress the ball. Look at Matic when he was at Chelsea. He was the one that used to anchor stuff, but Matic could progress the ball. He could progress the ball. He had the ability to progress the ball, and he could actually do stuff and actually give off a good pass.
I had like 9 assists in the first 12 games in that one season.
Pardon?
Matic had like 9 assists in the first 15 games or 12 games of one season. So like clearly...
Exactly. So he could do something like that. Even Fabregas could actually come out there and do like passes from time to time. And Fabregas didn't really need to progress the ball because you had those quarterback style passes. So my thing with N'Golo Kante is whenever he's actually succeeded, he actually had some people that could actually do some form of good progression. At Leicester, it didn't really matter because he had Drinkwater, and Truce Drinkwater is not that sort of player to do too many progressive runs, but Leicester are a counter-attacking side, so it was always going to work. At Chelsea, he had Fabregas, he had Matic. Those two are very good at progressing the ball, extremely good at that. They can both sit and progress the ball. Same thing with France. When he plays for France, he has Pogba beside him, can do the sit-in sometimes, but he can also progress the ball, and he actually has end product. So we can talk about Kante's passing being bad and all of that, but Truce, is that really what we're expecting him to do? Expecting Kante to make all these good passes is not the ideal situation. Truce, I used to expect him to do them as well, but I've come to the realization from observing and watching Chelsea over and over again that there are a lot of players in this team where we're expecting them to do certain things that they are not really fully capable of doing. I know that world-class players should be able to adapt and should be able to excel in certain positions, but you really can't. I don't think that is completely 100% fair. Do you know where I'm coming from? That is not 100% fair for us to do. Not like I'm even talking about you specifically, but that's just how I see the whole situation. Do you know where I'm coming from? So that's how I see it, to be fair. That's how I see it.
No, you're right. And, like Zion, again, big up for the donation, saying big up to you, Lewis. You can't hate Kante. No, you can't. And that's what I'm trying to say when I say this. And obviously someone said in the comment in the chat earlier, we won the league with, a back three and Kante in a double pivot. You're right, but then we were a defensive team, so you can't compare it to what we're doing now. And even then, Kante isn't as good anymore as he was then. I will say this. And someone also made the comment, how many counterattacks did Kante stop himself? 100%. 100%. I'm not even disagreeing with this. And I'm not even saying we shouldn't have necessarily started Kante. I'm saying if we do, we need to help him. to not expose him on the front foot, because like Dami said, we need to accept who Kante is. The same as we need to accept who Jorginho is. He will get beaten for pace when we play him. That's not Jorginho's fault that he's slow. That's the manager's fault for playing him then, if we can't, as a team, make up for it. And that's the same when you start Kante. You need to, as a team, make up for his passing deficiencies. And I don't think in this current system, but trying to play attacking football, we do make up for Kante's passing deficiencies. And that's where my problem comes in. And that's why I say he needs another midfielder to have more simple passing options. And someone I'm not going to go that far back because I won't find it. But someone said it earlier. Kante needs to work on his communication. The amount of times him and players around him had misunderstandings of who would take the ball was ridiculous. Him and Ziyech, him and Callum Hudson-Odoi, him and Kovacic, him and Aspie, and him and Christensen. With all 5 of these players, it happened on at least one occasion that they were both running towards the ball after there was a loose ball somewhere on the pitch, and they couldn't decide who takes it. And once or twice, we nearly lost the ball from it. I don't think we ever actually did, so maybe it's harsh to even make it a point, but it's a frustrating thing. And genuinely, I thought communication was poor between the players yesterday. There was this one switch ball by Aspie, and Chilwell thought Rudiger was going to take it. Rudiger thought Chilwell was going to take it. In the end, United had to throw it. There was the one with Aspie and Reece James when Luke Shaw got in behind both of them, crossed the ball, and McTominay had United's biggest real chance of the game. We need to work on this communication, but especially with Kante, it just seems, and this is not saying Jorginho over Kante, this is just saying Kante with Kovacic. It seems like in that middle of the park, when Jorginho is there, there's less misunderstandings between players. I don't know if that's just because something Jorginho does. I don't know if it's because Kante is a quiet guy, right? So I'm not having a go at Kante for not being good enough at that. I'm saying no one else steps up to replace what Jorginho does when Jorginho isn't in the team. And it's an issue that I don't like. Let me get you first, Dami. Did you see lack of communication as an issue, or was that just me yesterday?
No, 100%. Communication was lacking yesterday. You could tell that organization as well. As much as, the way we set up is easy for us to stay organized on a consistent basis. I'm coming from. So organization wasn't too much of a problem, but there were so many situations and scenarios where our movement, it wasn't too good. I'm coming from? And I think that comes from the fact that once again, that synergy in the team isn't there. You know what I'm saying? The synergy isn't so bang on. And that's one thing that Jorginho does quite well. A lot of people are agitated with sideways passing. I'm not the biggest fan. I've been crying for vertical passes even before Lampard got sacked. So at the end of the day, I'm looking at this team and I'm looking at the way they communicate right now without Jorginho, and it's truly not it. Do you know where I'm coming from? It's truly not it. I saw a question from Flyers talking about, what did he say? Was talking about N'Golo Kante playing as a 6 and he needs someone that can sit there. Not necessarily, because that's not, once again, I hear when we speak about pivots, we're talking about one person that stays and another that moves. True say both of them can move, but Kante, it depends on how your whole team sets up. And yesterday, Chelsea set up in such a way where the connection between the midfield and the forwards was non-existent. And I keep on saying, maybe, Jorginho has those side passes, but at least the ball is moving. The ball is moving he's moving smoothly, he's moving nicely in between the lines, and we're actually able to get all those different things done. But I definitely agree with that. Our communication was 100% very poor. It was poor. It wasn't up to standard. And that was because Jorginho was not on the pitch. So... And I'm not saying Jorginho should have started, because I said in my preview as well that I thought Kante should have started because of the pace. You understand? So, just wanted to clarify that as well.
Yeah, no, for sure. Sam made pretty much that comment saying Spurs and Atletico, they don't like to hold the ball. They will give us possession. And that's why we went with Jorginho for those two. But United are not going to let you hold 70% of the ball. Well, actually, if you think about it, in the last few games we played against Manchester United, we usually had between 60 and 70% of the ball, bar yesterday. And I think partly that was to do with our selection and Solskjaer just adapting. Oh, they're not actually going for the crazy ball possession team. They're not going for, at the pace in combination. They're not going for Jorginho, so we can have a bit more of the ball ourselves, because they know when we have Jorginho and Kovacic as a combination, it's more difficult to get the ball off us. And also, we didn't have the pace up top, so they were allowed to push higher. But 100%, I wasn't sure whether I would pick Jorginho or Kante. Both had their pros and both had their cons for me. But it's definitely that was the reason. But Lewis, did you think that the communication was an issue as well?
If you compare it to Jorginho and Kovacic, yes. But that's because their understanding is just levels clear of a Kante Jorginho or a Kante Kovacic pivot. That's why I would say communication was an issue. But other than that, I don't really feel like it was as much of a problem as it would have been in other games. It's just, you know what you're going to get with the Kante Kovacic pivot. You know what you're going to miss with the Kovacic Kante pivot as well. So it wasn't anything that really surprised me. Like, I expected us to be not as good in the possession game. I expected us to turn over the ball a little bit more than we usually would with the Jovicic pivot. And it all just happened on the pitch. If anything, I was more surprised at how good we were defensively, because I thought all those turnovers would make it harder for us with dealing with the counter-attack. But that's where Kante, it's such a catch-22 with him, because he'll lose the ball more, but he'll win the ball back more as well. So it's like in that midfield, but it also means that in that midfield third, you're going to keep the ball there a lot longer than you want to, because you're going to be constantly turning over possession between both teams a lot more and more. So I think it's something that we're just going to have to try and find a way through in the next few games. And we are going to see this pivot a lot more, especially leading up to the Atletico Madrid game. And I'm fine with that. But it works against certain teams that are going to sit deep against us. If it's a team that's going to press us like a Liverpool, I don't want that pivot. Because if we play Kante Kovacic, we're done out on Thursday, regardless of Liverpool's form. I don't want to see it.
You reckon?
I think we'll struggle. I won't say done out. That might be a bit too far to say, but we'll struggle. Because I think Liverpool's press is going to be really hard for N'Golo Kante to contain with himself. I think we'll retain possession a lot better with the Jovicic pivot.
I want to throw a question at do you reckon who would you reckon the quicker squad is? Man United's or Liverpool's team, innit? Because I was speaking to James Redmond earlier on in the afternoon. Big up to James as well. He was telling me that at the end of the day, that Liverpool team right now, that it's really their defense that's the issue, and their form up front hasn't really been the best. You understand, with the pressing and all of that. So I'm looking at
better or quicker.
Pardon?
Did you say better or quicker?
Quicker.
Okay, go on.
Because the way I'm looking at it is like with United, yeah, they are very fast and they can sort of press. So putting Kante in that team it makes some sort of sense because to counterbalance the speed. But with Liverpool, they are rapid and they also have a very strong press. So the speed could beat Jorginho and the press could beat Kante. So what do we do? You see where I'm coming from? So I hear what you're talking about with Kante being done out in midfield because they could press him to oblivion. See what happened against fucking Barnsley. So, I'm sorry, I swear on the channel, my bad. See what happened against Barnsley, you understand? So what happened against Barnsley, with no disrespect to them. So how is that going to run? I know that was his first game back into the shop, but I'm just kind of thinking about how we could run our midfield. Someone is suggesting Kante, Mount, and Havertz. That's suicide, Hakim Ziyech. So just like your performance yesterday. But yeah, literally, that's just how it is, isn't it? I'm thinking, what do you reckon?
It's a good question. It's a good question because I think in terms of, if you look at individuals, who's faster, I think United probably, because the only really fast players Liverpool have are probably Salah and Mane. And yeah, that's probably it. Like really fast players.
Yeah.
Who?
Their fullbacks are quite rapid as well, to be fair.
They are, but
they're not blistering fast, but they're rapid, innit? Do you know what I mean?
I would say, for example, Wan-Bissaka, he just doesn't go up the pitch that much. But I would say he's faster than Trent and Robertson both. But again, he doesn't use it as much. And that's what I was going to get to. Liverpool just run more. Even if they are maybe not as quick, they sprint more. And that's why they are quicker than United's, because I'm not sure if that makes sense. It's like if you take a Ferrari that can do 300 miles an hour, but you go 100 anyway, and then you take, I don't know, a BMW that can only go 200, but you go 150, it's still quicker, even though it could be at max, it should be slower, if that makes sense. And yet, I don't know what's the better solution, because it just depends on how we set up again, I think. Because, like you said, if we decide to be aggressive, then the counters and their pace could be a problem, and that's when Kante is helpful. If we want to just be a bit more controlling and sit a bit, and then make use of them leaving gaps and them leaving space, then Jorginho Kovacic is better. And before I get to the next donation by Sion, big up yourself, bro. Calvin has made the point of, what about Kante and Jorginho together if you have Mount drop a bit, or, for example, Kai Havertz? That would then push us more into having a 4-2-3-1, a bit more difficult to do when you have a back three, because that's where Kovacic is important. He doesn't always do it, but he's the only one.
Now, for me, Kante and Jorginho is probably the worst with the press.
Kante, Jorginho, yeah, no, I agree. But also, we don't carry the ball up the pitch enough with them.
Yeah, that's the thing, because I feel what Kovacic offers, neither of them will offer. And that's why I think Kovacic has to be the constant in that lineup regardless. It's a question of Kante or Jorginho. I feel the understanding will be better, and to an extent, we might keep more possession. I don't want to sit there and say we're going to dominate possession at Anfield, because that really is easier said than done, regardless of what the pivot will be. But we'll stand a better chance of dominating the possession with the pair of them. We'll be more progressive with our passes. Yeah, we might not break up play as easy with Liverpool, but Liverpool are also very wasteful themselves with their chances. So I'm not saying let's give them the chances, because they could still put a few of them in the back of the net. But I wouldn't be as worried with them having chances as compared to trying to stop Manchester United from creating chances. Because with United, it's a sort of thing where you can stop them playing their game, but as soon as they have one counter-attack, they'll probably put it into the back of the net. Their individual brilliance FC, they do that. Liverpool, they're wasteful. They're just like we are. We aren't clinical. Liverpool aren't clinical. So if they have those chances, who's to say necessarily it's the end of the world? It is a bad thing, but it's not the end of the world. Origi will miss a couple chances. Firmino will miss a few chances. Mane's having his worst season in Liverpool's shirt. And even Salah misses a few chances in himself. So maybe with that in mind, I would rather go for Jorginho and Kovacic. Because Kante, we will break up play, but we aren't going to be as good in the possession game. And I think that's where it's going to be more of a problem for us.
And he loses a lot of doing it, like you said. He loses too much of the ball. He lost the ball so many times yesterday, and even his distribution in the first half was poor. Second half, he recovered nicely, excellently. Sure. He recovered excellently well, like any world-class player should, but in the first half, it was shambolic.
Yeah, no, I agree. And big up Zion, by the way, if you're actually going to watch this back to see this, big up yourself. Cheers for tuning in. And I guess that leads me on to high up the pitch, because an argument that Dami made earlier with Kante, or with the combination that we had yesterday, we didn't take the ball from midfield to the front three. And if you actually think about that, that's been an issue since even the second half of Conte's first season, through his second season, through the Sarri season, quite frankly, because then we had Kovacic, Barkley, and Kante all the time, like one of Kovacic, Barkley, and Kante. And they weren't quite good enough at it either, because Kovacic is very on and off at being good at that. And then even under Frank, and when we played the double eight in autumn, that's when we were good at it, but that was the only time we were good at it. Otherwise, it was also an issue of getting the ball up the pitch from the midfielders to the attackers to even allow them to do anything. And that puts us, before I get into Tuchel, I want to talk about the front three, I want to highlight them, because Dami touched on earlier, Ziyech in the first half yesterday was shocking, like all sorts of bad. And the thing that triggers me with him is not that he didn't take the chance in the second half. Sure, I want him to take it. He should take it. But the fact that Ziyech is the type of player he is, and then so many times, whenever he drops, and he doesn't do it enough anyway, he controls the ball, and his touch bounces the ball off him like 5 yards as if he's bloody trying to be Lukaku. I'm like, you're meant to be a technical player. You're controlling this with your strong left foot. And the amount of times since coming back from injury a second time, that's happened. It's pissed me off so much. It happened against Barnsley. It happened yesterday. It maybe didn't happen against Atletico when he came on, but that was a bit of an exception. It always happens, and it really infuriates me. Yes, of course, we didn't have the players on the pitch to use his passing range on the counter because Giroud was our striker. So I can't blame Ziyech for that. But to not control the ball and to consistently give the ball away when he's trying to back pass, that triggers me like crazy. And I don't get it. I don't get why he was chosen to play that game yesterday. He doesn't have the form to be played in this kind of game. I honestly, it baffled me. Baffled me that he started, quite frankly. I didn't necessarily hate Havertz being dropped, Werner being dropped, excuse me. But drop him for Pulisic or Havertz, not bloody Ziyech. Honestly, I didn't understand it. I didn't understand it. And then, obviously, me and Dami touched on it before you joined, Lewis. All of the, responsibility of making sure that ball gets up the pitch and into the final third was kind of left to Mount in terms of down the middle. Yes, up the wings, it was a bit Chilwell and a bit Hudson-Odoi, and then second half, Reece James. But down the middle, it was only Callum, only Mason. He was the only guy that tried and succeeded. Not as much as he should have succeeded, but it's difficult when you're the only player actually trying to do that one thing, and it's a very important job to do. And the Ziyech one triggered me. Lewis, let me know what you thought of Ziyech yesterday.
Well, Ziyech on his overall performance or the big chance?
No, the overall performance.
Yeah, Ziyech's first half was just a massive howler, like start to finish. I don't need to speak too much on it. It was just turnover FC the entire first half. Second half, like he was better. There was the big chance, which I'll give David De Gea credit for, good save. But same way, it's like I just never put these big chances into the back of the net. Like it's so many times where it's so much easier to put the ball in the net, and we never do it. But we're Chelsea. I don't care anymore. Like I've been angry about it years ago. I'm now at the acceptance stage. Yeah, we need 5 chances before we're going to put it in the back of the net. It is what it is. Just shrugs your shoulders and we move. He had a better second half. Creates a lot more chances. Was a lot more involved in the final third. So I will give him the credit for that. But still, as an overall performance, not really enough to say. Like we turned over the ball so many times the first half. Where realistically, there were chances where we could have gone in and killed the game, and we didn't. And it is what it is. But I won't take too much with him because I know he's still getting back to full match sharpness. That's going to be what now? 13 full games, or the equivalent of 13 full games in an entire season. So he's obviously not fully match sharp. I don't want to take this as Ziyech's final form, but Ziyech ain't the same like the young players. He's 27 years of age. We can't sit here and just say, we got to wait for him to come good and everything. Nah, he was meant to come good now, innit? And he occupies the same positions as Kai Havertz, who's 21 years old and was the generational talent that we had to get at all costs. So we know when push comes to shove, we know who's getting shoved off. And it ain't going to be Kai Havertz. So Hakim Ziyech, it's ruthless, but we're ruthless FC as well. So he needs to improve and quickly for the sake of his Chelsea career. And I feel, unlike any of the other signings, it is very accurate to say that with Hakim Ziyech. He has to fix up and soon.
Yeah, no, fully. And, you know, Giroud was kind of a little bit the opposite. Decent, but only just about decent in the first half. Should have probably got on the end of Callum's cross, realistically. And then I probably don't say he was just decent because he scores our winner. But he probably should get on the end of that in the first place, let's be honest. And then in the second half, until he was taken off, he was trying real hard to be worse than Ziyech was in the first half. Because, bro, the guy miscontrolled every ball, and when he passed it straight to the opponent every time. I was getting lit all over the shop. And then in that one moment in the first half, when he tried to press, took him half a minute to get after Maguire, and then he fouled him. I was like, bro, take him off right now. If you could take off Callum Hudson-Odoi after half hour against Southampton, you should take off Giroud for doing that, because that's outrageous. Like, you can't be doing that stupid thing. You can't get turned by Harry Maguire. That's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. But that leads me on to talking about Thomas Tuchel, and I will, that will kind of lead into you talking about Ziyech yourself as well, more than me, because I think Tuchel got slightly played by Solskjaer yesterday. I really do, because man expected Man United to sit deep, and they didn't. And then he was like, all right, then I will bring some pace on to exploit them playing high. As soon as Pulisic was on the field, Solskjaer, Man United were like, all right, we're just going to step back 15 yards and your Pulisic is going to be useless. And exactly what happened. And we didn't find a way around it. And Tuchel didn't find a way around it. And there was a little bit of talk with the Callum Hudson-Odoi injury. And I can only go by what Tuchel said. But he said after the game, it wasn't necessarily down to the injury that he took him off. And if that is so, fair enough if you decided to go for a back five. I don't get it really, because Man United created more in the second half and didn't really threaten us in the first half. So why did you feel the need? You needed a more proper defender. But anyways, if that's your decision, fair. But why would you possibly leave Ziyech on the pitch after that first half and not just push Callum further up the pitch if he was okay to play on? I don't get it. I don't get it. And then, like, I will get to this, and I've touched on this with Dami earlier. We have had 9 games under Thomas Tuchel now, and I said it on Lewis stream earlier too. 9 games. Every game we've had the same issue. We defend well, but we don't create and score enough. But we haven't tried anything different other than the Spurs game when we played like Mason Mount as a false 9. That was the only time we tried something different. Other than that, every single time we play a focal point in Giroud or Tammy. Okay, a little bit differently was yesterday because it was Ziyech instead of Werner. But in general, then still tens off the main striker. Do that every time, and we never create nothing. So surely you need to try something different. Surely, and where is Kai Havertz? Like, where is he? He's been apparently fit for 3 weeks now, 2.5, 3 weeks. The first time he made the squad was against Atletico Madrid. And then he was an unused sub again today. I know we only had 3, but we signed the guy for 80 million. He's a generational talent. Why are we not using him when we can't score? Like, if we were scoring for fun anyway, it's fine. Give him all the time in the world he needs to get fit. But if what we're trying isn't working, surely you should be trying to use these players. I don't understand. Like, what is the aim? Because I don't see the aim in the final third. I see the whole structure of the play, but in terms of final third, I don't see how he is trying to get us scoring. I don't really see it. Yeah, cutbacks, right? Cutbacks. But we criticized when Frank did that. Like, our biggest chances against Man United was the cutback from Chilwell to Ziyech. Great. Biggest chances we scored like that against Sheffield United. We had a couple of almost moments like that against Southampton and Atletico Madrid. That's kind of how we end up getting our big chances. Do we have another option? Because where is it? And Ziyech ain't it at the moment, at least. So, Dami, do you agree with that Tuchel just needs to try something else in the final third if it doesn't work? Or are we just happy at the moment? Make sure we defend well, make sure we don't get beaten, and hope that our forwards get a goal somehow.
I think, truthfully, I understand why we aren't really playing too many. Am I frozen?
No, you're good.
I thought
just
Laurenz
for half a second. You're fine.
Yeah. Laurenz was the one that went frozen, fam. My people are always roasting my McDonald's Wi-Fi, talk Wi-Fi. You know them ones, fam. That's what they're always abusing me with. But truthfully, I believe I understand. Now, I need truthfully, at the end of the day, the way I look at the entire situation is, I understand Tuchel's want to not get into changing too many things up. There are some basic things where I feel like he can change, which are the people up front. You understand? I hope he could change up the likes of Giroud and Hakim Ziyech, which he didn't do. I understand why we're still playing the way we are. That three at the back, I'm sure he doesn't want to do that long term. Definitely not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know he wants to play with a lot more attacking impetus, but for him right now, not losing a game is the most important thing. That is the most important thing. I think he'd rather get through this time frame, 20th of February to the 20th of March, without losing any of the games. I think that's the bare minimum for us right now. People are talking about Kai playing versus Liverpool and whatnot. I would like to see it. I called him I said he could play like a false 9.5 role, which is a funky phrase I've come up with, and a lot of people are using all over the place now.
Yeah, Monster was getting mad at you for it.
In it, fam. So literally, like I said, playing like the number 10 kind of with Mason Mount in between the lines, and let him also try and receive the ball in between the half spaces. Let him try and do that. And if things need to shift up a little bit, he can go up front and sort of play beside Timo Werner so that he can actually allow some of the balls to be played into him, and he can link up with Werner to try and get some goals. Hence why I call it a false 9.5, because it's not really a 9, it's not really a 10, and it's not really either. He's kind of roaming. He kind of has like a free role in that position is what I'm thinking of. So I want to see Tuchel try something like that. But once again, I kind of understand him trying to stick to all these different things. Because
before you continue with that, let me maybe explain to people a little bit more how exactly you mean the 9.5. Because do you mean a 9.5 alongside a 9 or instead of a 9? An actual.
Like alongside a 9. Alongside a 9.
Proper 9 would be Werner, right?
Yes, I put Werner.
And who would be the other 10?
Mason Mount.
Okay, interesting. I like it. Why not? But do you think not? Sorry?
Do you not rate it?
I do. I'm just not 100% sure if we have... First, I mean, it needs Callum, but I feel like, do we have enough ability to take players on then? Because...
Do you know, I think we can.
I don't do it. Mason sometimes does it, and Werner can't do it. That's why I'm like, I still would like a Pulisic in there somewhere.
Oh, no, but the thing is, like, with this whole Tuchel thing, Ziyech, for example, had to play a bit centrally yesterday, which is not really his cup of tea. So I'm not too... Initially, I was worried about how they'd all fit in because they like occupying certain areas on the pitch. Now, I think Havertz would occupy that number 10. And like I said, it's vertical. Do you know what I mean? Up and down. Mason Mount kind of plays this role I'm talking about already. All I'm saying is that I'd like to commit him more to the 10 position, and I'd like to commit Havertz to more of the 9.5, 4, C, whatever have you position. That's what I was thinking, because truthfully, at the end of the day, you have a player like that. He can play as a false 9. He's done that several times in the past. You understand? He's done that for
kind of what Ziyech did second half yesterday, isn't it? Because I mean, Tuchel explained after that we switched from a 3-4-2-1 to a 3-4-1-2 with Mason coming a bit central and then Ziyech pushing up next to Giroud. It's a weird front two of Giroud and Ziyech, but essentially he played what you would like Kai to play.
Exactly. And the thing about why I would like to see Kai doing that is because I know Kai Havertz would not make stupid, silly, comfortable passes. That is not what he does. Do you know coming from? He has Ziyech taking a lot of silly shots all over the shop. They didn't really pop off. Ziyech is a real merchant. You understand? Highlight real merchant. That's exactly what Hakim Ziyech is. When it pops off, he looks beautiful and fantastic always. You understand? That night in Chelsea with Quincy Promise and whatnot. We can't all forget that. You understand? I don't think any of us have forgotten that. But truly, at the end of the day, I look at the situation and I try to break it down and I'm like, what is the issue in this club? What is the issue going forward? The passes are too simple. The passes are not direct enough. The passes don't have pace on them. The passes are literally the issue. People are talking about finishing. No worries. No worries. I hear that our finishing is also poor. But we also need to make sure that the passes that are getting into the players in positions to actually take any shots and all those different things, it would make a lot of sense. And that's why I keep shouting for this 9.5 thing, because Havertz could actually drop in and make some of those intricate passes to the likes of Mason Mount. Obviously, Mason Mount will still not be the end, but Havertz he can make that final pass. We've tried to get Ziyech to do it. Nope. Callum Hudson-Odoi, Truce has only been putting crosses into the box, not really final passes, you understand? Werner has been putting just crosses in. Mount's final pass has not been very good. And then you've got all the strikers that are not involved. Pulisic, same thing. So we need someone that can actually make the last pass. That is all it is. We need someone that does the assist or the pre-assist or something like that. Because Truce, Kovacic is not going to do that for you. Kante, most definitely not. And Jorginho isn't. So that's the problem. That is my problem with Chelsea's attack. Literally, we can't pass in the final third, the important pass. Everybody plays it safe. Do you know what I mean? Let's move like La Casa de Papel. Let's do stuff very dangerously. Let's move risky. Let's move life on the edge. None of you picked up that reference. Yeah, both shambolic. Absolutely shambolic. Did you not get that reference to La Casa de Papel?
No, sorry.
You not watch Money Heist?
Trying to get up the next
Money Heist. You don't watch Money Heist?
I do, but I was reading the chat, bro.
I'm gonna be real with you. I haven't been on Netflix in months still.
No. Money Heist, you still have to watch it. Nah, it's big dubs. It's big dubs.
See, is it worth it? Is it worth me resubscribing?
Money Heist, bro. You can watch it on Netflix, innit?
I haven't updated my account in months. I can't lie.
I'll just get another 3 months or something.
Yeah. If both of you lot are giving it the cosign,
no. Honestly, it's behind Breaking Bad. It's like up there. Plus, season 1.
Oh, that's the caliber you're putting out. Say less.
Yeah.
It's a good one to watch, fam. It's a good one to watch.
Cool. I got you guys safe.
But yeah, exactly. See about MK Stars. That's why I said with the whole 9.5 thing. When Tuchel said it, then I was sat there saying, what did I say? Do you know I'm coming from? It just makes a bit of sense. People are talking about coaching badges. Please, I'm not trying to get dragged on Twitter.com for being the next tactical thing, but big up to you. Thank you for all the coaching badges. Maybe I should actually try some coaching badges. You know, UEFA B license. I put in my Twitter bio and whatnot. But nah, at the end of the day,
put it there. Just claim you have them. No one's gonna check.
Nah, fam. Imagine claim. You know these lot that go on Twitter talking Catenaccio, Hug de Passion, all those funky buzzwords and things. I'm not dissing them, but I'm just like I'm not. They can be there. You know them ones. They can be far over there. I'm going to stay in my lane. Do you know what I mean? The central lane settings, gear 6 and whatnot, trying to go to 7. But we're moving it. We move. That's just how stuff is. So, yeah man.
I definitely, like we spoke about this before, and I like the idea. For me, it's between what you said and playing Kai as a proper false 9 in the middle. That drops between being a 9 and a 10. A bit like Mason Mount did against Spurs, because I think just Kai's better at that. And then having Werner off the left and Pulisic off the right. Those two are my options. With how Mount is playing, you can't really take him out of the team, in my opinion, with how crucial he is to everybody actually working hard. So that's why I think your shout is definitely a big shout. And what I need to say is, before I get to Lewis and his thoughts on, Dammy's idea and what I said about Tuchel, the amount of chances and games we gave Timo Werner, if Kai Havertz, it's different with Ziyech. Like Lewis said earlier, Ziyech is 27. He isn't given this time that we give Werner, and in particular Kai Havertz. He isn't given this time.
I didn't even speak about Ziyech, fam. Jesus Lord. Ziyech, bro.
Go on.
Let me tell you, you're embarrassing. You understand? You're embarrassing. This has not been what we were expecting from you, bro. Honest to God. Because true say, this was Mr. I'm in my prime. This was Mr. You're not going to regret Sancho coming instead of me. This was Mr. Highlight Reels at Ajax, Mr. Main Man. He's coming, and I agree he had injuries. I know he's had injuries. I know he's one of those people that definitely was sat there and got injured quite a few times. Started up, had the fantastic game against Sheffield United. We saw that under Frank Lampard. But for someone who is meant to be in his prime, he's been quite bad. He has had less assists than Willian this year. Do you know where I'm coming from? Context is everything. Of course, context is everything. Willian got those assists from 2 games. That's how Willian operates. But true say, for me, Ziyech is meant to be doing so much more. He doesn't have time like Kai Havertz. He doesn't have time like Mason Mount. He doesn't have time like Timo Werner. He doesn't have that kind of time. So why are we having to delay this brother for so much longer? How many more excuses are we supposed to run for him? 27, 20. Let me confirm. I believe he's 27, innit? You understand?
Yeah,
I believe he's actually 27. He's probably going to be 28 in a few months. And he's actually sat there, still not performing at the level we'd like him to perform. He's going to be 28 in 10 days, fam. In 18 days. 28, fam. So next season is going to be 29. Is this what we're really expecting? Is this your prime? Is this what really happened? Now I'm starting to see why a lot of people didn't really go for this brother. And they think I didn't go for him when he was at Ajax. I'm not saying he can't be a good player, but like I said, highlight real merchant. He's like a B-Tech Bruno Fernandes. That's exactly what he is. Because things only really pop off once. And when they pop off, that's when everybody notices you. Look at Bruno yesterday. People are talking about us locking him out. How many times does Bruno actually show himself? Against Newcastle, he was invisible, nowhere to be found. But he managed to start by the goal and an assist. That's exactly what Bruno does. And that's how this Hakim Ziyech has always operated for his career. So it's quite frustrating. Right now, we need some form of consistency in our team. We don't really need a Hakim Ziyech player right now. So he needs to pick up his boots. He needs to start doing stuff a lot more effectively. So somebody say he came to London for shisha. I'm in tears. I'm not involved. Don't ask me about that. But truthfully, that's how I see those situations, man. Ziyech right now, I don't want to violate him because I understand new country and all of that. But bro, it's mad. Ziyech right now. Is this your prime? Is this your prime? Absolutely not, fam. Shocking.
For sure. And I mean, I give him to next season if he's still here, because he came from a significantly worse league. And even in your prime, it is a step up that maybe takes some time to get used to. Fair. But you said stat padding. I wish Ziyech was just having shockers left, right, and center, but getting a goal and assist every time he plays. Like, I'd be very pleased with that. Do you know what I mean? In comparison to what we have got. Because what Ziyech has done so far has either been outstanding against Sheffield United and Leeds in particular, or dreadful every other time he's played. So that is a bit of a problem. It is a bit of a problem. But I don't know. Kai Havertz just needs games. And if he's not 100% fit, then let him play to get 100% fit. It's not like any of the others are playing so well to justify playing, Kai isn't 100% fit. I don't care. Play Kai, give him an hour, and then he gets fit quicker. That's the whole point. I know Tuchel would probably be doing that long time ago. Would we have 5 subs? But hey, we don't. We don't. And what fact is, we don't score enough. And fact also is, talent-wise, our best player in the whole team is Kai Havertz. So bloody play the kids. Bloody play the kids. It triggers me, honestly. Lewis, I have a lot of questions for you now. First of all, my comments on Tuchel. Does he need to try a bit more in the front 3 and the final third for us to fix it, rather than basically doing the same thing over and over and over again, and then after the game saying we lack precision? Which he's not wrong with, by the way. And I'm not even saying Tuchel is like awful. Not at all. I'm just saying he needs to do this little thing different, in my opinion. He will disagree, and he's the guy being paid millions, so he can do what he wants. But I'm also set here free to give my opinion, so that's what I'm doing. And your thoughts on what Dami said with Kai as a kind of 9.5 next to Werner. So basically a front 2, but Kai obviously much deeper, if that makes sense, and then a 10 behind/wide of them in Mason Mount. What do you make of all of that?
I like that, but I don't think we're going to see any big changes until the end of the season. Like, we can talk about the final third and everything and how we could set up differently. I don't think that's where our focus has been, to be honest. I think our focus has just been further back, and it's just been more about being stable at the back and conceding as little goals as possible, and then working forward from there. I don't think this is Tuchel's final formation. I could even low-key question whether he fully trusts all the players in that system as well. That's why he's got such a system that protects them so well. Because maybe he doesn't fully trust them with the final product yet, or maybe he hasn't got the reinforcements in that he wants to be able to implement that final product. So all the problems that we see with the final third is there, but I also don't expect it to be changed too much. Like, we talk about Tuchel's ideas for setting up the team and his philosophies. His philosophy is always, if I'm correct, I'll get you to the final third and then you do the work from there. You figure it out yourself. So I think this is where it becomes a personnel issue. And then you're looking at the players that we have, and maybe they're not used to that level of freedom. Maybe they're not used to that level of responsibility. All I see is a lot of things that will change in time. I don't think it's a finished product in terms of this is all they can achieve in their formation. This is all they can achieve as players. That's it. Now we need to try to find something different. No, I just think these players need to be able to create chances for themselves. They need to be able to dominate and impose themselves in the final third. We don't do that. And that's where the problem is. That's why I wouldn't necessarily put it on Tuchel for that. I'd understand why. He has the ability to change it up completely if he wanted to, but I think he's trying to think long-term in himself as well. That's why right now it's just get top 4 as a minimum. Anything else is a bonus. Obviously, we want higher than that. I want higher than 66 points. I want potentially a trophy on top of that. As for what his targets are, it's probably just to get us into the top 4 as a base minimum, and then you move on to next of it. So you can ask for more. I don't think we're going to get more. And compared to what we had a month and a half ago on the Lampard, fine. I'm not going to sit here and start demanding a lot of things like that, because we could realistically be in a much worse place. Next season is when I want to see that. For this season, just get top 3. Like, I'll say top 4. I want top 3. I think the team's capable of top 3 as a minimum in itself. Top 4 is just so we can get Champions League football. But as for right now, just churn out the results, just get top 3 and play in a way that gives me a bit of confidence in the team, because I do still have confidence in the side, even with this performance and the Southampton performance. It is really and truly just the final third. That's the only problem with the entire last 6 games. It's just been the final third. And based on how we've been doing everywhere else, I don't really care too much, because we're not losing games. We're not dropping points consistently. At the worst part, it's the last 2 league games where we drawn that. And that's also come in as soon as we started this tough run of games. Fine. I understand that we'll drop a little bit as a result of that. Cool. As long as we can come back up and as long as we aren't losing games, fine. So I get what you're saying. And the thing with Kai Havertz is a 9.5. I think that's a great option in the future. I don't think it's going to be utilized right now. I think all of these ideas we'll see next season. This season, it's just about playing pragmatic, playing safe, and just getting the result and moving on. That's what I think it is. So I think we also just need a bit of patience with ourselves, because we'll ask these questions a lot of times throughout the remainder of the season. What's wrong with the final third? Why can't we get more in the final third? Why can't we put more players in or change the disorder formation? I doubt we do that. Maybe towards the end of the season we see that. But as of right now, it is just game at a time, go get the results and move on.
Yeah, no, I do agree. I want to make one point before that. We have nearly 200 people watching, so make sure you smash the like button. Let's get 100 likes right now. We're only at 60, so make sure you smash the like button right now. It doesn't cost you any money. It barely costs you any time, so go do that. Subscribe to Lewis and Dammy. Both of their links are down in the description. Subscribe to my channel. Road to 10K. Subscribe if you're new. That'd be massively appreciated. Dammy said that he doesn't have that long, so if you need to head off, just let me know. But I want to say one more thing about Tuchel, because he gave an interesting interview. I think it was the interview with Rio Ferdinand for BT Sport.
That was a phenomenal. That was. Let me just let you speak, bro. Before I come on this.
That was high level interview. Now fully. And he said one thing, that the players need to understand that yes, I can change things when I change formation, but at the end of the day, it's about them changing it on the pitch, and that's kind of what Flyers is hinting at here with that comment. He's 100% correct, but, right? If the players don't change it and we still want results, then the manager needs to change it. And that's why I'm saying I didn't say anything about this after 4 games. I'm saying it after 9 games. And my question is, how long does Tuchel wait for the players to change it until he's like, well, okay, then I need to? That's where my question comes from, because I fully agree with Tuchel. The players need to understand that it's their job to change it. It can't just be every time something doesn't work, we change formation, because Frank did that. He played a formation while it worked, then it stopped working, he changed formation and played that until it didn't work anymore. We don't want to do that all the time. We want to have players that are capable of solving problems, and that's how Tuchel trains and works every day. But if they don't solve the problems, we need to fix this. We need to fix the problem anyway, don't we?
No, was that to me?
Either of you. Sorry, I didn't name who I wanted to jump in.
My internet froze, so I was like, raw.
No, it's just. But go on, Lewis. Then go on.
Yeah, just repeat that last point again for me, please.
It's just the players. We need it's all well and good saying the players. It's their job to make sure things work, and it's not. It shouldn't be as simple as the manager changing the system, and he's right with that. But also, if the players don't, then surely the manager does need to change something because he's still judged by results, and the results haven't been bad. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, but
still,
I feel like all it
you
does highlight the same problems that we've had for years, where we aren't clinical, and maybe half of the reason for that is that we just don't create these chances for ourselves. Like, it's huge speculation because we'll be going back 4 years to try and figure out why we haven't been clinical since 2017. But same way, like, we've got a manager who's managed some of the best players in the world, where the standards are that high. I think maybe it's just Tuchel's demanding a lot of these players more than they've ever been expected of them before. And that's where the adjustment period is with them. They don't really understand what it's like to be in this sort of system where once you get to the final third, all the reins are off and it's just, go on, get the goal. We've got you here. Like, sorry, tight system. Lampard, I won't say tight system, but we played a certain system and it wasn't really just based on that. We played a certain type of way. Same thing with Antonio Conte. Select system. Tuchel, there's now a system as well, but there's freedom in the final third. That's the one thing that neither of the managers had. Everyone else, it was a way to get to final third and then a way to attack in there as well. That's where it's probably just different. I think that's just an adjustment period.
Fair. And the last point I want to get to, again, Dammy, if you need to head off, just let me know. I had this debate, I think, yesterday with Jay McIntosh on Twitter, because he said more important than getting Erling Haaland is getting a centre-back, getting a DM, and maybe even a goalkeeper. In particular, the goalkeeper I disagree with, especially today. It's Edouard Mendy's birthday. Happy birthday. I'm not going to slander him today. Definitely not. That's harsh. It's like PSG sacking Tuchel on Christmas Eve. Like, that's ridiculous. Especially when in Germany we celebrate Christmas on Christmas Eve, not even the Christmas day. Any which way. Do you agree with that statement by Jay? Because I don't. And someone in the comments made it earlier as well. If we have a better defensive midfield, it frees up the attackers more and that allows them to be better. That is maybe true, but I also think if we have a better finishing attacker, that allows us to be more stable defensively and still get goals. So it's an interesting debate, in my opinion. What is more important, getting a Haaland? Let's just go with Haaland as the example. Is it more important to get Haaland or a DM and centre-back? What do you think, Danny?
Neither. That's not what's important right now for me.
No, obviously for the summer, not for today, right? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, for the summer, really, honestly. I'm not even being sarcastic. What I mean by that is my number one priority is to cut the crap. Cut the useless people. I don't want us to look at signing players till we sell some players. Because this time around, I'm not trying to have this whole situation and talk about player power and whatnot. If I'm getting rid of Zuma, let's get rid of Zuma. If I get rid of Rudiger, let's get rid of Rudiger. Tamini wants to leave. I would like him to stay, but if he wants to leave, let him be out the door as well. If I'm selling Jorginho, let him be going. Kovacic, let's cut some people first. Let's actually cut some people first. Because true say for me, I don't want to be placed in a situation where we sign Love. What happens if we go out and sign 2 centre-backs, a striker, okay, and a midfielder, and we don't get rid of anybody? What happens next? Bigger squad that can compete more, but how is it going to be managed? How are we really going to manage the team moving forward? So definitely, I know that's not what you were talking about in the grand scheme of things, but that's definitely my priority. But in terms of actual players, Truce, I think the GM is more important. The midfield is way more important right now because Truce, Werner can become clinical. Havertz can also score goals. Pulisic can score goals. Mount can score goals. Ziyech can score goals. Callum Hudson-Odoi can score. All these people can score goals. Giroud, Tammy, they can all score. It's not like they can't score. I know they're not finishing very well right now, but that connection between the midfield and the attack, obviously, that is a shout, you know. That is a shout. That is actually a shout. I don't know if RLC can actually come back into this team and play as numbers as a 6-6, but
I don't care. Make it happen. TT, make it happen. I will never criticize you again, TT, if you make that happen. I promise.
I am going to tweet out propaganda for Ruben Loftus-Cheek this evening. Just from seeing that, I'm going to be tweeting that propaganda.
Oh, Loftus Cheek Hive. I will actually take a ticket to that.
I will make
You know
sure
what
I'm
I mean?
retweet it. I'm telling you.
That's a shout. It makes sense because RLC is that connective DM. Not a GM, don't clip me. He's that connective midfielder. He's the one that we're kind of missing right now. Will he actually do it? I don't know, but I'm just thinking about it. I need to think about it a bit more and actually put some more thought into it. But at the end of the day, I think we need like an actual progressive number 6, a number 6 that can actually do something that will progress things further and nicely. So truly, at the end of the day, I think, we can sign like an Erling Haaland and he can come in and we can probably start scoring goals. But if he's not going to get the ball, he's never going to score. But another thing we can use to counterbalance what I've just said is the fact that Haaland doesn't need that many chances to score. Giroud had like 3 or 4 chances yesterday. He didn't convert any. Haaland would have scored 2 goals based on statistics. So literally, Haaland is one of those players where he's world class and all of that. So I'd actually back that to run. Do you know where I'm coming from? He doesn't need that many chances like our current strikers do. But at the end of the day, you can look at it both ways. I think they are both quite important right now. Do you know what I mean? But if I had to go for one, I'd go for a more progressive number 6 because we're really lacking that. And a progressive number 6 with output, with actual good passes, vertical passes, and all those different things. So yeah.
I definitely see where you're coming from. I see where you're coming from. To me, it's just you mentioned all of these players and they can score goals. And of course, they can all score goals. But do I think of any of them? And that includes Werner because he's so system dependent. Can any of them score us enough goals? And that's essentially where we want to be. We don't want to be here every season saying we need to get top 4. We want to improve. We want to get 3rd. We want to get 2nd. We want to win league titles. And do I see any of our current forwards good enough to win us league titles with their goals? No. The combination of all of them can do that for sure. But bloody hell, I just wish we finally had a striker, a bit like Costa was in the first halves of the Mourinho season and the Kante season. How he was in those 2 first halves of the season. If we had that kind of striker on a consistent basis, just imagine how happy we'd be all the time. Just aim for happiness in life. And Chelsea getting good results makes us happy. So that's what I want. See, I don't always have to have the best performance on the pitch. But if I have a striker that gets 3 half chances a game, and then on average scores 1 or 2 of them, then I'm bloody happy because everyone will be livid. Everyone will be saying, oh, they don't even play that well, but they still win everything and they're going to win the league. Kind of what we said about Liverpool after restart last season. They weren't that good, but they still kind of managed to dub every game anyway and won the league. Yeah, I'd much rather kind of dub every game and win the league than I am every now and again I get a 4-0 or a 4-1 like we did against Sheffield United, or a game like against Leeds when we won 3-1, we probably should have scored 7. But then have also random 0-0s in there that I can't necessarily be bothered by. But Borussia Dortmund don't play 0-0. Borussia Dortmund don't not score. They might lose sometimes because overall they're not that good and their manager is a bit of a dodgy job. But that don't happen. And part of the reason for that is Erling Haaland. And when they haven't scored goals is when he was injured. Like, obviously, Timo Werner was a little bit like that at times for Leipzig. And it's still only the Bundesliga. But Haaland is just different. Haaland is built different. But Lewis, let me know. Do you think Haaland's more important or a DM/centre-back?
Oh, Haaland's definitely way more important. Like, we've read all this last 6 games have shown is that we can stabilize the defense. Like, even if we were playing this sort of formation, but we had Erling Haaland in the middle, we probably would have won the Southampton game. We probably would have won the Manchester United game. So the defense isn't necessarily the problem, even though we could do with another centre-back. Midfield ain't necessarily the problem, even though we could do with a destroyer, and we are lacking that sort of profile. Even though we could do with a 4th winger as well, no, we need a clinical finisher first and foremost. We need somebody who's going to put those chances in the back of the net, because that's what's going to get the points on the screen. That's what's going to win us the game. That's what we're lacking. Last 6 games, if anything, as centre-backs, we have a good crop of centre-backs. I can't even lie to you, to be honest. Like, if we go and get a centre-back, it has to be somebody who walks into the team blindfolded, Thiago Silva effect. That's the sort of... I don't... Like,
there are very few defenders that can do that.
A what?
There are very few defenders that can do that. I probably take like a Varane or a Marquinhos, but I definitely hear what you're saying, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'd understand that as well, but if we were to get a Varane or something, then I'd be like, okay, cool. We can get a centre-back once we've sorted out our other transfer issues then. Because it is still necessary, but we kind of have those similar profiles of centre-backs already. Like, If we get a centre-back, I'd like us to get a leader. And like we said, easier said than done. But if we're looking at profiles, that's what we actually need. The number one thing that this team needs is a clinical finisher. If we had the Haaland from the start of the season, and okay, take Lampard tax into account and everything, probably would be title contenders right now. If we had a clinical finisher, that is the one thing we've been lacking the last 4 years. I think that is the number one thing we need. And that's the one position where I think we could improve that and nothing else. And we would have upgraded levels as a side and we'll potentially be title contenders just based off that sort of transfer alone. So I'd have to say striker first for me.
I agree. And one reason for that is what Dami said. It's very difficult to find a centre-back like that. And in my opinion, it's also very difficult to find a DM like that. Marquinhos is arguably the best signing possible. It's not going to happen, but he can be both. Like, you know, he can be that DM that you need, and he can be that centre-back that you need. Perfect. But the whole reason why there has been this whole debate to Chelsea, Flyer saying, would you take Alaba to play DM? Because it's obviously come out, whoever signs him will actually not using a left back or centre back, but a DM. Apparently, that's what he wants. Which is, trust me, having watched Austria, nah, it ain't it. I mean, he's not bad. Don't get me wrong, he's not bad at it, but he's not the guy that fixes our DM issues. Anyway, there was Declan Rice, there's Zakaria, there's Kessie. We don't have this guy that stands out, and we know we want him. And it's the same situation with the centre-backs. Even the whole rumours of Konate after Upamecano decided to go to Bayern Munich. Konate is just a more injury-prone and slightly better Kurt Zouma. He's massive. He's fairly quick. Yeah, he's better at open play passing than Zouma is, but he's super injury-prone as well. We have enough of that. Don't need that. Not again. And I don't really need another young centre-back. We have plenty of that already. Like, I don't need it. And the same issue with DM. There is not this standout player where I'm like, yeah, he will fix it. And until that player arises, I'm like, I want to go for Haaland, who is the player that we all agree on would fix our finishing issues. Would he fix the chance creation issues? Would he fix the getting the ball from midfield to the front three issues? No. But the finishing issues, he would solve. And that's why I think Haaland is more important than others. If over the next 3 months until the summer window opens, a DM or a centre-back becomes available, or, you know, what am I trying to say? Like graces the world with where I'm like, okay, you fix our issues, then I might change my opinion. But until that happens, I think Haaland over anybody, in my opinion. But that doesn't mean we only sign Haaland, by the way. You know, we're still Chelsea here. Just because we sign Haaland doesn't mean we can't sign a DM as well. Especially if we do what Dami said and get rid of dead wood. Because that is, I actually agree, even more important than Haaland is getting rid of players. But I'm going to, open the floor, shall we say, to both of you for a minute or so, whatever. Just take whatever time you want. If you have anything more to say, because otherwise we're going to leave it here. We're going for nearly 1.5 hours, longer than I initially planned. But, it is what it is. So, Lewis, do you have anything else to add on the Manchester United game, on the whole Haaland transfer discussions, or shall we just leave it here?
Just other than the final third, which is, to be honest, only real talking point is the final third because we just weren't clinical as usual. But other than that, solid performances all round. Defense was solid. Midfield, we were very solid defensively. Going forward on the fullbacks, a lot of backwards passes and everything, but we come to expect that from Ben Chilwell, and Reece James has had a similar effect from that in the right wing back position anyway. So it is what it is. Just take it to Liverpool and please get a win in this game, because if we do charity FC against Liverpool, I really can't be asked. But yeah.
Exactly. Dami, what about you? Any sign-off statements that you want to make?
Bro, these lot need to pack up their bags and they need to start using their shooting boots on the pitch, because truly, at the end of the day, offensively, they've been utterly shocking, extremely frustrating. And at the end of the day, we're watching football for them to score goals. I can talk about 9.5s all I like. We can talk about 6.5, 7.3s, 2.1s, and 9.2s. We can say all the different positions and all the different tactical things we think should be implemented. But truly, at the end of the day, they just need to start scoring goals. They need to start scoring goals, because right now things are extremely frustrating. So, yeah, man.
Exactly. But I'm going to leave it here. Again, thank you to everybody that has tuned in. I massively appreciate it. Massive shout out to both Dami and Lewis for hopping on the stream. Like I said, their links are down in the description below. Just click their ads, takes you straight to their channel, subscribe to them, help Lewis reach 25k. Let's just go with that milestone. Help him reach 25k, help Dammy reach 5k as soon as possible, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. The road to 10k is getting shorter and shorter, I guess. We're getting closer and closer. So make sure you subscribe. That'd be massively appreciated. Smash the like button, like I should put up in the comments. Let's get 150 likes right now. We haven't even reached 100 yet, but hey, we have to aim high. So go down below, smash the like button.
Oh, we ain't reached 100 yet. You man in the comments section, please. I love you and I respect you for being locked in, but please fix up, guys. Come on now.
Exactly. Just smash that like button. YouTube loves a few likes on videos, on streams, shows it to more different people, and that's what we want. That's how we get to 10k subs. So make sure you smash the like button. Massively appreciated. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Up the Chelsea, and I'll see you next time.